The psychology behind everyday behavior. Unveiling hidden influences. 1. Ambiguity effect. This is the tendency for people to avoid options for which missing information makes the probability seem unknown. 2. Assembly bonus effect. This effect occurs when people perceive an item as being of higher value when it is presented as part of a group or collection, rather than alone. 3. Social facilitation. This is the tendency for people to perform better on simple tasks and worse on complex tasks when they are in the presence of others and their individual performance can be evaluated. 4. Barnum effect. This is the tendency for individuals to accept vague and general descriptions of their personality as uniquely applicable to themselves, without realizing that the same description could apply to many people. 5. Birthday number effect. This is the tendency for people to prefer numbers that are associated with their birthday or other personally significant dates. 6. Name letter effect. This is the tendency for people to prefer the letters in their own name over other letters of the alphabet. 7. Boomerang effect. This occurs when an attempt to persuade someone to change a belief or behavior results in the person adopting an even more extreme position in the opposite direction. 8. Bubakiki effect. This is the tendency for people to associate the shapes of objects with sounds, such as associating the word booba with a rounded shape and kiki with a spiky shape. 9. Diffusion of responsibility. This is the tendency for individuals to feel less responsible for taking action or helping when others are present. 10. Bystander effect. This is the phenomenon where individuals are less likely to offer help to a victim when other people are present. The more bystanders there are, the less likely it is that any one of them will help. 11. Cheerleader effect. This is the phenomenon where people appear more attractive when they are in a group compared to when they are alone. 12. Cocktail party effect. This is the ability to focus one's auditory attention on a particular stimulus while filtering out a range of other stimuli, such as being able to hear one's name mentioned in a noisy room. 13. Contrast effect. This is the enhancement or reduction of a certain stimulus's perception when compared with a recently observed contrasting object. 14. Crespi effect. This is the tendency for people to remember uncompleted or interrupted tasks better than completed tasks. 15. Curse of knowledge. This is the difficulty in imagining what it is like for someone else not to know something that you know. 16. Diderot effect. This is the tendency for one purchase to lead to another, similar purchase. 17. Einstellung effect. This is the negative effect of previous experience when solving new problems. 18. Endowment effect. This is the hypothesis that people ascribe more value to things merely because they own them. 19. Cryptomnesia. This is a memory bias whereby a person falsely recalls generating a thought, an idea, a tune, a name, or a joke, not deliberately engaging in plagiarism, but rather experiencing a memory as if it were a new inspiration. 20. DRM paradigm. This is a psychological paradigm that demonstrates how people can falsely recall a word that is semantically related to studied words. 21. Florence Nightingale effect. This is a situation where a caregiver develops romantic feelings for their patient. 22. Flynn effect. This is the substantial and long-sustained increase in intelligence test scores measured in many parts of the world, from roughly 1930 to the present day. 23. Generation effect. This is the phenomenon in which information is better remembered if it is generated from one's own mind rather than simply read. 24. Self-fulfilling prophecy. This is a prediction that directly or indirectly causes itself to become true. by the very terms of the prophecy itself, due to positive feedback between belief and behavior. 25. Golem effect. This is a psychological phenomenon in which lower expectations placed upon individuals, either by supervisors or the individual themselves, lead to poorer performance by the individual. 26. Digital amnesia. This is the experience of forgetting information that you trust to a digital device to store and remember for you. 27. Hawthorne effect. This is the alteration of behavior by the subjects of a study due to their awareness of being observed. 28. Hedonic treadmill. This is the observed tendency of humans to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness, despite major positive or negative events or life changes. 29. Hostile media effect. This is a perceptual theory of mass communication that refers to the tendency for individuals with a strong bias regarding an issue to perceive media coverage as biased against their side and in favor of their antagonist's side. 30. Hot-cold empathy gap. This is a cognitive bias in which a person underestimates the influence of visceral drives, such as hunger and fatigue, on their own attitudes, perceptions, and behaviors. 31. Hypersonic effect. This is the effect of overly rapid speech which results in reduced comprehension and retention of information. 32. Imposter syndrome. This is a psychological pattern in which an individual doubts their skills, talents, or accomplishments, and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. 33. Irrelevant speech effect. This is the disruption of serial recall by background speech sound. 34. Cupid doll effect. This is the phenomenon whereby individuals who have overly cute facial features are perceived as highly attractive. 35. Kuleshov effect. This is a film editing effect where the audience derives more meaning from the interaction of two sequential shots than from a single shot in isolation. 36. Lady Macbeth effect. This is a psychological phenomenon in which guilt is mistaken for dirtiness and the urge to cleanse oneself arises. 37. Less is better effect. This is the tendency for people to prefer simpler options when presented with complex choices. 38. Levels of processing effect. This is the phenomenon where information that is processed more deeply, with greater thought or elaboration, is better remembered. 39. Matthew effect. This is the phenomenon where those who already have an advantage are more likely to benefit further, while those who are disadvantaged are more likely to fall further behind. 40. Microwave auditory effect. This is the phenomenon in which short microwave pulses can be heard as clicks or even speech. 41. Misinformation effect. This is a memory distortion phenomenon where a person's recall of episodic memories becomes less accurate because of post-event information. 42. Naive realism. This is the belief that we see reality as it really is, objectively and without bias, that the facts are plain for all to see, that rational people will agree with us, and that those who don't are either uninformed, lazy, irrational, or biased. 43. Negativity effect. This is the psychological phenomenon by which humans pay more attention to and give more weight to negative rather than positive experiences or other kinds of information. 44. Observer expectancy effect. This is a form of reactivity in which a researcher's cognitive bias causes them to unconsciously influence the participants of an experiment. 45. Outgroup homogeneity. This is the tendency to view members of outgroups as more similar to each other than members of a